Hello, boys and ghouls. It is I, Jason Booth, retorting to the Cannastraci and his video, our little debate on the horrors of the Black Album and the consequences of the timeline we're all living in now because they decided to sell out. Yes, they did sell out. And you can't debate that. But you can like it because I can't control you and I can't, force you to have good taste and have integrity. You are your own person. You are a grown man. And you've decided to defend one of the most heinous, most atrocious, and just an asshole of an album. Okay? The black hole asshole of an album. And it ruined, heavy metal forever. Again, this is all in fun. Don't take any of this personally. Nobody out there. We're all just trying to have fun. That's what life is about, that and gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is life. Gatekeeping keeps the scene strong and pure, and we will not let these horrendous bands like Sleep Token and Falling in Reverse and Ice Nine Kills. They're trying to fucking kill heavy metal culture. They're infiltrating our scene, and it all started with the Black Album. Yeah, incredible, isn't it? Everything that's going on today is rooted in Metallica deciding to get on their knees and take a pummeling from the one they call Bob Rock. The man laughed all the way to the bank and is still laughing. And he's every day he wakes up and the first thing he does is laugh. Because he made a mockery out of the entire genre of thrash metal and heavy metal in general. He whipped the crap out of some grungy, delinquents making, bullshit music because he is a hard rock guy. You can tell he came from white privilege, generational wealth, never worked a hard day in his life. He's not blue collar. He's a very privileged guy that's very soft-spoken, and he had no reason to, understand or need anything heavier than rock and roll or hard rock. He was not a heavy metal fan. I guarantee you he didn't know anything about, the heavy metal culture. And Metallica was, firing on all cylinders. They were huge. They were megastars. They were selling T-shirts like just as much as McDonald's were selling burgers. Over 1 billion T-shirts. They were making it big, man. They're huge. And then, all of a sudden, they got tired. And the record label said, hey, Guns N' Roses, bro, look how much money they're making. Hey, Motley Crue, bro, check out the sales. Check out the production values on this. Isn't this incredible? Wouldn't you guys like to maybe dip your toes in and get some of that action since it's all the hype, it's all the rage? Lars Ulrich, as I said in the discussion with Cannastraci, he fell in love with Axl Rose. He saw Axl doing that snake shuffle thing on Welcome to the Jungle video, and he was like, oh my God, I just realized that I have a raging boner for this Axl guy, and I'm going to do everything in my power to try and get to somewhere near close to playing hard rock so I can coerce this pretty boy, this lovely man they call Axl Rose to come on tour with me and Metallica. We're gonna do it. Oh yes, he will be mine. Oh yes. So it happened. So yeah, on the topic of McDonald's and James Bond and pizza, all these things are bad for you. James Bond only had like 1 or 2 good movies. The rest is predictable and it's pretty much garbage. and it rots your brain, people. And you think that you can be a spy or something, or you want to achieve such heights of coolness. It's not worth it. McDonald's, obviously, maybe it was good before. They used to cook in lard. Now they cook with the canola oil, and they're poisoning people. Their burgers don't even degrade like normal food. So therefore, it's not food. It's awful. And you people consuming McDonald's and your James Bond and your pizza, you're all going to die early and fat and bloated. And, you're the perfect fit to be a Black Album fan, because your brain doesn't function on a high level anymore because you're consuming fast food garbage. So take that. Speaking of Happy Meals, Metallica's Black Album, why didn't they do a Happy Meal? The little snake, they could have done a plushie and put it in a Happy Meal. That would make perfect sense, because that's what they were aiming for. They were aiming for kids. With Enter Sandman, are you kidding me right now? And what does Dave Mustaine have to say about that? Didn't he do the whole bedtime story thing with Go to Hell? Didn't he do that first? Or am I mistaken? Anyways, I digress. I'm on Dave Mustaine's side, and just screw Metallica. Screw their Black Album sales. Because at what cost? All right? At what cost did we have to pay for being a thrasher in the 90s? We were laughingstocks. Okay? We were regarded as childish and immature, brain dead morons. Like, what kind of person listens to Enter Sandman and says, yeah, I love it, or it's cool, yeah, I love Metallica? Also, like, anybody wearing a Metallica shirt after 1991, that's what people thought of you. And or even any of the big four shirts, it's like, oh, that's Metallica related. Therefore, we were all laughing stocks, and nobody that was hip and cool would ever admit anymore that they used to listen to metal, or whatever, or they like Pantera disregarded their glam era completely. You can't talk to them about it, and that kind of embarrassment is what happened to metal in general in the 90s. You had to be cool. You had to listen to Sonic Youth. You had to listen to the Breeders, and you had to listen to any grunge band. Okay, you had to listen to Helmet and Ministry and Nine Inch Nails, and you had to be cool. You could no longer say that you are a metalhead and you love thrash, because that's what Metallica did to us. And yeah, the Black Album is bubblegum. Okay, when they create earworms that like Enter Sandman and even Sab True, whatever, and there's syrupy, disgusting, Nothing Else Matters. That's bubblegum, okay? Maybe it's not strawberry flavored. Maybe it's more like a grape flavor. But it's bubblegum music. You can play it on the radio. Anyone's going to bat an eye. And everyone's like, oh, that's fine, that's cool. And they're not going to care. But if you put something like Ride the Lightning on, or Master Puppets, Kill 'Em All, even the Garage Days EP, not the double CD, that was garbage, the EP. You put that on, people are going to be disgruntled. They're going to say, like, take that off. Take that garbage off. It's hurting my ears. I don't want to hear this rabid dogfight music of yours and satanic bullshit. And that's what you want, okay, people? If you're a metalhead, this is the reaction you want. Let's talk about Cliff Burton. Again, I'll say it again. I'll say it for the billionth time, because a lot of people, for some reason, don't do their homework. Cliff Burton was the only guy in Metallica that is musically educated. He took classes. He learned to compose. He took it very seriously. And the guy was a force of nature on that bass. And he experimented with distortion and wah pedals. You name it. The guy, it was a phenomenon. And Metallica, the two guys, they realized that. They're like, this guy is phenomenal. This guy, we have to do whatever it takes. He has to come on board and help us out, because we have to harness his power. That's what you do. You try to get the best people on your team. They even moved. They hauled all their belongings and moved to San Francisco from Los Angeles. That's like what, 4 hour drive, 5 hour? I don't know. But they moved. They left all their people, all their friends, or whatever, their jobs, and they said we need to be near this powerhouse of a man. Cliff Burton made Metallica rise out of the rudimentary days of Kill 'Em All. Like, Kill 'Em All is amazing. Thanks to who? Dave Mustaine. Thanks to him teaching James how to play guitar actually. And he kicked their asses. And if it wasn't for Dave Mustaine, again, no Metallica, no thrash metal, the way we heard it, the way we have it. Cliff Burton was also just or even more important than Dave Mustaine, because he taught the guys how to compose, how to layer, how to arrange, how to make their songs epic and not just your basic 4x4 verse, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, solo, back to the chorus. He taught them to be more creative, to be more substantial musicians. He made Metallica evolve from the sounds of Kill 'Em All to Ride the Lightning. Huge leap. And then you thought that was good enough? Nope. They took it even further, even higher with Master of Puppets. And all of this with no radio commercials or videos or bowing down to the man. They did this all thanks to the fans that heard that these guys were for real. Huge waves in the underground with basically no support. That's what hurt so much when they sold out, that the fans were nuts about them and said, these guys are the new Led Zeppelin of our time. They're thrash metal Led Zeppelin, thrash metal Black Sabbath. They're the next level of humanity, the evolution of man. These are the gods of today. And then after that, a tragedy after Master of Puppets. Fortunately, they had some songs and some riffs and some templates ready to go, and we had Injustice. A lot of people say Injustice is not that great compared to Master, and I kind of agree, but it's still awesome. It's still great. It's still Metallica. I can't really say anything bad about it. That was the Metallica way, to be unconventional. And then what happened? We lost it all. We lost them. They knew they couldn't continue on making innovation without Cliff Burton on board. And that's what you kids don't understand. Cliff Burton was the heart and soul of Metallica's ability to innovate and, keep things fresh. Therefore, if he was still alive, sure, they could have done a rock album anyway. But I guarantee you 100,000%, it would be an epic, beautiful album. And I would not be here spilling my bile over this shit, because I absolutely hate what it represents. And I don't understand Cannastraci. How can you seriously defend this garbage? Okay, and on the subject of throwing shade at Def Leppard, I do not condone that at all, because Def Leppard, if you really just think about it, when they started, they basically were a pop rock band right from the start. Some people say they were like new wave of British heavy metal, and no, they weren't. They were a rock and roll band right from the start. And you can clearly hear songs like Hello America. Like, that's so obvious that they wanted to be like a heavier rock, hard rock or pop rock Beatles. It was just 10 years later, but they really just wanted to be as commercially viable as possible. And their evolution after the drummer lost his arm and whatever, and they went to more like technical, or they use synths more and electronic drums, and they reinvented themselves in a crazy way. But you know what? It's good. It's like, I admire Hysteria a lot. There's a lot of work put in there, and the songs are well written, they're well composed, and they stand the test of time as well. I don't understand people that this hysteria, because it's nothing really that outlandish for a band that always wanted to be huge. And they got huge with Pyromania, and that's hard rock right there. But it's got that poppy thing, it's got that catchiness, and the earworms are there. You can trace the Beatles and, just Led Zeppelin and hard rock. But mainstream, they were always mainstream. So please lay off the Leopards. They did lose all abilities after Steve Clark, though. I'll give you that. And touching back on Bob Rock ruining, metal. Basically, he ruined metal, not because he was the biggest producer in the '90s like Butch Vig, but because the bands like Motley Crue, and what else? He worked with the Cult. He pretty much made it a standard to overproduce these bands and strip their essence. So yeah, it was not only him, but he was such a big, sought after producer that other producers wanted to imitate his style, and the style was to just really strip bands of their essence and confine them into this prototype of trend of the formula that he has come up with, which is essentially, like I said, it's destroying a band, taking them and dissecting them and then like rearranging it and just really like homogenize the band into a commercial product. And that is exactly what killed heavy metal and glam and even thrash and all that, because it was gritty. And he destroyed the grittiness of it, and that's why grunge came back. It hit so hard because these were not polished. Pearl Jam and Nirvana, they weren't a polished band. Sure, they weren't like really heavy or anything, but they were like, you could hear them just being genuine musicians, and doing their own thing. They were not stripped of their essence, and they were not beaten down by the commercial vampire like Bob Rock and his ilk. That's why grunge took over. And regarding the 80s, yeah, no matter what you say, the 80s will always be romanticized because of the sheer volume of talent. And sure, you had to sift through some awful stuff like Bon Jovi and Brittany Fox and, Poison or whatever. Even Kiss was going still. But even in the underground, you had amazing stuff. And, if you didn't dig underground bands and you only listened to FM radio, hey, that's on you. And not just heavy metal, like in every other kind of genre, you have post-punk and indie and, you name it, rock, just basic rock. You had a lot of great stuff. And it just, in the 90s, at the beginning of the 90s, you had even, I don't know, it felt like even more bands in the underground, and things were changing and things were mutating, but it came to an end. I think in 1996, when there was this contract with Clear Channel Communications, I think that really affected the scene and FM radio, and it all went downhill from there. But a lot of things came in, like the internet, and it just became the downfall of music in general. It's all thanks to the Black Album and Bob Rock. And regarding the homophobia, there's no homophobia here, bro. Rob Halford, one of my favoritist singers. He's obviously super gay, and I don't even care what he sings about, but he's just an amazing singer, and he's part of our, heavy metal ethos. He's part of our culture. He is a god as well. So there's no homophobia, but Lars Ulrich, coming from a really like testosterone-drenched genre that is thrash metal. Thrash metal was a complete sausage fest in those days for a reason, because it's testosterone music, right? And it's just rough and tough. Even like you could say that it's almost jock-like genre. Like we're all just tough guys and stuff, and that's what Lars was all about. And all of a sudden, it was pretty obvious that he fell in love with Axl Rose. I'm not kidding about that. He literally, you could see in the pictures when they were in I don't know, some festivals with them pictures. They took pictures of them backstage and stuff. You can tell that this is why Lars and Co. decided to sell out. They wanted some of that mainstream cash, but also along the same lines, you can tell that Lars was completely in love with Guns N' Roses and Axl Rose. So there's no homophobia. I'm just pointing things out. And sure enough, later on, yeah, you had those displays of affection, but I'm not talking about the displays of manly love with him kissing Kirk, which is, it rubs me the wrong way. But, I understand they're doing it to cause a stir and say like, oh, you old fans of ours can't dictate us, and we're like breaking down all social constructs, and we do what we want, and we're rebellious, and we rebelled against the system, and we sang about injustice, and now we're just gonna be like breaking down all sorts of taboos because we are rock gods now. So I understand that they have a right to do whatever the hell they want, and I honestly, I really wouldn't even care if the music wasn't so bad. Like after the Black Album, they just became kind of like Oasis, and they got really lost in the shuffles. Like they became other people, and that's not growth. That's just a midlife crisis, but sponsored by millions of dollars, which could be a very bad situation, and it caused the end of their kingdom, of their hierarchy, of their reign of innovation and respect. They lost a lot of respect from a lot of people, but they had enough money to stay relevant and do things to stay relevant to this day. But if it wasn't for their 80s albums, they wouldn't be headlining. They would not be filling arenas. Imagine if they never created the 80s. If they only came out in 1991, they would not be filling stadiums, period. And regarding Mofos of Metal on Facebook, you know what? It's basically the only page that I've seen where they don't censor people. So of course you're gonna see wild and weird, and maybe incel levels, as you say, of cringe. But the fact of the matter is it's the bastion of free speech. Sure, there might be some trolls there that will report you. I got reported many times by some assholes, and because people don't like free speech, even if posts are strange or weird or like they don't make sense, like who hates Black Sabbath, and like that's odd. Maybe it does happen. Maybe I haven't met people that said that in real life, but I can see someone maybe saying, especially young people, that maybe they just want to troll, or they generally just don't like Black Sabbath because, let's face it, it's a really old style of music, and Black Sabbath was, while they were innovators, they were still, some albums had a lot of fillers, and they didn't really experiment too much. They did at the end, like Never Say Die is an amazing album. A lot of people didn't like it, but they prefer the straightforward, rocking sounds of Symptom of the Universe and, stuff like that. But I can understand like a young person after they're bombarded with newer stuff and they don't have mentors. There's a lot of lost people out there. But if they want to say, Black Sabbath sucks, that's fine. Nobody should take issue with that, because all it does is it creates debates, and it opens conversations. When you have to just play nice, that's not fun. We're metalheads. We're anti-mainstream. We're delinquents. And if we want to say whatever the hell we want to say, then we should be able to say it without fear of getting banned for 30 days. It's like Mofos is doing a great job. The admin, he's kind of a strange guy, but he believes in free speech. So my hat's off to that. And I don't understand anyone that would not like to be in a virtual mosh pit like Mofos of Metal. Horns up. So, in conclusion, yes, once again, please don't take any of this seriously. Just messing around, and we're just having fun discussing music because, music is life for a lot of us. It's not, something that we need to stay alive, but it certainly does help to enhance the experience of living. And, that's why it's important for you boys and girls out there to just accept gatekeeping, okay? None of this, music is subjective, blah, blah, blah. No, music is a subject, just like math or history, and it has to be studied and it has to be respected. And if someone is trying to tell you, school you and give you some information, don't flat out just get offended and triggered and curse them out. There are people, believe it or not, there are people out there that are smarter than you are and have researched more than you have. And, the facts are facts. If you don't know what you're talking about, don't try to act superior and start insulting people. Just accept it, Not everyone is well schooled in the arts of metal, especially. So yeah, in conclusion, thanks for having this debate with me, Cannastraci. It's fun. I love talking about music and discussing it. And I especially love schooling people that, they're not necessarily wrong. They just have a skewed perspective. And, we can't all be experts. We can't all be, fine elitists and, the perfect gatekeepers. But I'm here to help. I'm here to enlighten people, and I'm here to, give free lessons to the plebs out there. And yeah, fuck the Black Album. And if you still like it, that's your fault, okay? Don't blame me because I have tried to guide you all. So you're welcome. For anybody interested in more music talk, recently was a guest at the Metal Podcast, and we discussed an underrated gem from the band Malice, who sounded very, very much like Judas Priest, and that's probably why I really liked it and I want to discuss it. I'll leave a link down below. And if you want to check out my channel, I make my own jams. I just jammed Transylvania versus Rain and Blood. Pretty fun. I enjoy making awesome music, so check it out, and looking forward to the next debate. Anybody interested, just hit me up. And I'm down because it's all about schooling the plebs.